All right. Well, I doubt anyone is watching right now, but we're here.
It's early.
You can watch my back.
So we're here at the GAMA Trade Show. We're not streaming live this year because we weren't sure how good our internet connection is, and as it turned out, it's really good. So we'll be doing more live streaming, but we're going to be streaming live throughout the day. We're not going to be announcing when it is because you don't know when it is. We're just going to show up and we'll talk and say various things. And we just recorded Steven and his marvelous crew showing off a bunch of cool new games from Stronghold.
New games coming out between now and July.
So we'll be posting these things next week. But other than that, we got here today.
Yes, like literally today. It was still dark outside, but it was today.
We knew we were going to be running late anyway. Like our flight was supposed to get in just before 1 in the morning. And we're like, all right, that's bad, but we'll get there. Then our flight was delayed, and we ended up getting to the hotel at 3.
It seems to be like the only way to get here. I got here also like after 1 a.m. the day before.
For us,
Right, and that's the thing, because of it's a 3-hour.
And the daylight savings time change for me. So I was like, it was like 5 a.m. by the time I got here. It was, in the East Coast. It was crazy. My head was killing me.
But
my wife has a theory about that. She says every time she flies through Las Vegas, her flight gets delayed. She says she thinks they do it on purpose, so you spend money on at the slots.
That's an interesting theory. I like it.
I think it's
Conspiracy
true.
theory 101 over here.
Right, so if you have any questions, you can shoot them here for me or Sam or Steven. And again, like I said, we'll be popping in live throughout the day. Now, this is the first time the GAMA Trade Show's in Reno. I can't get over it. The air is super clean outside.
Reno!
That's really nice.
It's a beautiful area. It's an amazing hotel casino. I mean, didn't even go over to the casino side. I just kind of walked through it quickly. But it's a beautiful hotel. I mean, it makes Bali. No offense to Bally's.
No,
Bally's is an old hotel.
it puts Bali
They're
to
probably
shame.
not watching
I
this.
don't think the guy who runs Bally's is sitting
Probably
here going,
not watching this.
That Buonocore.
It's Bally's is not an attractive.
and unfortunately, we have our big sign behind us here, but if this was not here, we had to do it for lighting purposes, but there's like this gorgeous mountain backdrop
Yes.
behind us. It's really nice.
Way cool.
It's a beautiful
We wanted
area.
to do it so that you could see it live, and because the sign is big and bulky, we're not doing it right
We
now.
actually went. I went with some people over to Lake Tahoe yesterday just to see it because we wanted to see more of the area. It's unbelievable. It's just stunning. This is absolutely one of the most beautiful areas of the country. So I highly recommend coming to Lake Tahoe or Reno if you ever get a chance to do so.
All right, well, we still have not got any
Questions. So we'll just
questions.
continue riffing here.
Well, no, yeah. Well, so
Hashtag Tom Vasel doesn't like fun.
the convention here is for retailers and manufacturers and publishers. It's an industry thing. It starts on Monday and goes till technically Friday morning, but no one stays till Friday morning.
Okay.
I mean, I guess a few people do.
I'll leave on Friday.
But it goes through Monday through Thursday usually.
Right.
And there's 2 days of the small exhibit hall, which is basically just to show off your games to the different retailers so they can see what's coming out.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of seminars. And you're like part of like one, like PSI, I think you're probably with them again, right?
So for the publishers, our job is to have a booth, interact with the retailers directly, show them their games, and also to give talks about the games, an AV style talk. I'll have like 15 minutes to go through all the games with the retailers that show up for the event. And each publisher basically does that. Also, the retailers, as they see games, the distributors are actually here. All the big 5 distributors, even more other distributors are here taking orders. They'll actually take orders on the games that they see. We also give some GAMA Trade Show specials, so they can do like, buy a case and get one free and things like that. They'll be able to do. Yeah, so and almost everybody does that stuff just to, it's a special thing because if you made the trip to come to Vegas in the past or now to come to Reno, we want the retailers to feel like it's worth it for them to be here.
That's cool.
But don't feel like if you're watching, it's like, oh, I wish I could go. It's not, it's a work thing. It's not where there's a little bit of gaming here.
Very little.
But not much. It's mostly just for people that have meetings and talk about things. And
you don't want to be here as a gamer. You would be disappointed. I mean,
unless you're like a slot machine gamer, you'd probably be.
You'd be happy to see me, of course, and to hang out and talk to me and have a beer with me. But it's really not. It is the anti-consumer show. This is a business-to-business show.
It's an anti-consumer show. We hate the consumers.
No, I mean it's exactly
Anti-consumerism.
I like to buy a game. Get out of here.
It's the exact opposite of like an Origins, which is also run by GAMA, or a Gen Con. It's the exact opposite of that. This is business to business.
We don't have.
Consumers. We don't like consumers.
I think you need to.
I'll change the
You
word.
need to
again, sorry.
rephrase that. We don't have a ton of questions so far. What else? You make it, Miss Ignacy.
I
think
do.
Is he coming? I don't think he comes here.
No, Marcin, one of his guys, is going to be here. We're going to meet up later. Ignacy is not here. I do miss him actually because we recorded a podcast from here last year. I was hoping to do that, but we're not going to. I do miss him. I miss my man.
All right. The other question is, any thoughts on the upcoming Harry Potter the miniatures game? They decided not to do. They were going to originally do a Kickstarter game, then they changed it to a pre-order, and it said it took many by surprise. But I don't really. To me, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Kickstarter essentially is a pre-order system, as much as Kickstarter wants to say it's not. It is.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's. I'm still trying to figure out what a Harry Potter miniature game is about. It's not like there was many battles in the books. There was only a few. It was mostly Harry running away from administrators at his school.
Why? Was he a bad boy?
He broke the rules like every book.
So he was a bad
mischievous.
boy. He's mischievous.
Endgame, yes, I will be coming to PAX Unplugged this year. I'm not happy about going back to New York, New Jersey area in December, but yes, I will be going to PAX Unplugged. I'll be at both.
The sandwiches are delicious.
I'm sure the sandwiches are great. And
Sandwiches?
Sandwiches. That's what you just said.
That's,
Sandwiches.
that's how we deal with the sandwiches. And
Sandwiches, yes.
So yes, I will be at PAX Unplugged, not just my cardboard alter ego.
I don't think they've officially announced PAX Unplugged yet.
The date? I don't have the date myself. But
Well, I mean, everyone knows it's going to the first week of December, but they haven't
Yes.
announced it yet.
we have not been given any info on it.
But you're planning on going.
Oh,
It's the
absolutely. I
last
will be
convention because there's also no cruise this year, so you can.
It's easy to make it because you push the cruise out 3 months, which I'll obviously be on. The Dice Tower Cruise, highly recommended. It's a great vacation.
He hasn't signed up yet, but yes, I heard.
Of course
he's
I
going.
did. Of course I did.
All right. Isabel wants to know what our thoughts on the sci-fi zombie side are.
Ooh, hey.
But it's not actually zombies, though. It's from what I can tell. They're like
looks
just
like
aliens
It
that act like zombies.
They could be alien zombies.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Pardon me.
It's live.
Professionalism is oozing from this live stream.
Sorry that I have
right now.
allergies.
To fun.
Oh yeah, apparently.
Hashtag
We mentioned
that's
zombie
like
side, the new sci-fi, and he sneezes. Anyway.
Sci-fi
no,
sometimes can make $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean,
gonna be
I was joking. I mean, the look of the front board just looks really like 80s
Oh, I
Space
don't like the
Marines.
cover at all, actually.
I mean, I don't mind it. I just thought it was funny how similar it looked to 80s era Games Workshop games. But I'm looking forward to it. I like that system as it was. I like to see what changes are going to be thrown into it for the sci-fi version.
Thank you, Yoda Dutch.
I don't think you've
Sure.
ever played Zombie Side, have you?
Of course I have. Yeah, it's great.
I like how he says, "Of course I have."
No, I mean that's a big game, and that's kind of my style thing. Yeah, no,
Oh, you like Zombie Side?
I do.
Okay.
I like it.
Do you like Zombie Side better or Black Plague or Green?
I only played the base. I've only played.
I will
say
play the
this, though.
base.
That's what?
You only play the base?
Only played the original Zombie Side. Did not play
okay.
the other.
Steven has almost never ever said he doesn't like a game publicly.
Well, no, of course not. I mean,
What do you mean? Of course not.
Well, if
do you like Monopoly?
no,
Sorry.
no, those are.
Hi Ho Cheerio.
Don't know that.
What?
Hi Ho Cheerio.
Yeah, that's a
No.
classic, bro.
I don't know it, but no.
Well, look it up.
I'll look it up right after this. It's
gonna be in his new- it's gonna be in his
Don't like
new-
it.
Tic-tac-toe don't like it because he
No, of
always
course,
loses.
the publishers should never say they don't like a hobby game, of course. But you know, the old mainstream games, they don't count anymore. I mean, that's.
That's up to you. So someone said that the Zombie Side looks like Cthulhu in space.
Yeah.
I guess. Is it compatible? Do you know if the Zombie Side in space is Black Plague or not? Did they say anything on that regard?
That I haven't heard of. I would imagine. How would they make that compatible though? Sci-fi and medieval times. I mean, unless there's like a time warp or
No,
something.
because it's. Have you seen Life of Brian?
The
A spaceship can come in medieval times.
Of course, it can.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, the premise of the question is a little off, but has Trumbull recovered from the shakeup in its catalog restructuring of one European partner. Yeah, there's nothing there. We lost some catalog, some games. It's not a big deal. I have a small game called Terraforming Mars. You might have heard of it. It's really so it's okay.
He's doing the mic
Dude,
drop
he just name dropped his own product.
No, I'm saying I didn't understand
He just name dropped
exactly
his own product.
what it
Come
meant,
on.
other than we don't. It's absolutely not a problem whatsoever. You bring games in. Some games will leave a catalog. You get licenses. You lose licenses. Not a problem, of course.
You win some, you
win some, you lose some. Hey,
Forget about it.
Forget.
Looking forward to Dice Tower Con. Is the library going to be as accessible and full of new stuff as the library in the cruise was? Yeah, it usually is. I mean, remember the cruise this year took place directly after Essen. We brought suitcases of games from Essen, so that was convenient. The Dice Tower Con happens in July. We often have new games that are about to come out at Gen Con, but sometimes those games are like printed and like sent to America days before Gen Con. So we can't get everything that's hot and new beforehand.
I guarantee I will have brand new, not available releases at Dice Tower Con, including Paper Tales, which we just talked about, right?
Yeah.
I like Paper Tales.
We just did that on the recorded stream that you'll see later.
How does the Hasbro announced HasLab crowdsourcing platform impact the industry? Not at all. They're selling a gigantic 4-foot Java sail barge. That's it.
I on Board Games Insider, my podcast with Ignacy Chevicek and Stephen Buonocore, we talked about this, and we didn't understand the entire concept. I mean, like literally, like.
Well, I
understand what they're doing.
I know what they're doing.
But duh.
Money, money, money.
No, you don't understand. I mean, how big Hasbro is. It's not a money thing.
No, listen,
really.
it doesn't matter how big Hasbro is. They're charging $500. They want 5,000 backers. That is millions of dollars. Even though they're big, that's still not nothing.
It is not a rounding error on their balance sheet or income statement. That's how small.
No. Okay, let's say they're $1 billion company.
I know business. Go ahead. Oh, yes. No, dude, I've looked at their balance sheet.
If you know
actually
business,
did.
then why do you publish some of the games you publish?
There we go. I actually.
It's getting hot up in hell.
Warm in here. Anyway, no, I don't. Yes, it's money, but I don't get why they have to do it that way.
I think they were hoping it would be a big thing. I think they were hoping people would be like, sure, I'll do this. They were able to send out this special collector item. If they could make $2 million every time they do this, I know that's
not a lot of money for them. It actually is
but
not.
it's not nothing
it's not
either.
Nothing. It's not nothing.
But to go back to the original point of the question, I don't think it's going to impact the industry.
No, there'll be
in any large way at all.
No impact.
But also, they haven't done a board game on it yet. Now, if they did Star Wars Queen's Gambit, that would be like,
Whoa.
Okay,
Well-
that would be cool. People, we'd buy it. I actually own a copy. You own
I own a copy, yeah.
People
I'd buy
like
another
us,
copy, though, just
people
to-
like us would buy that. Buy that. It is a really cool game and really well done. But again, that would be a one-off. Okay, they did a board game with a lot of
They
miniatures.
could reskin that game as Rogue One, and it would work. The final battle.
Since it was
in
the
Rogue
same
One.
like movie, yeah, it probably.
Well,
could.
it's the same basic idea, right? You've got 3 different battlefields. You've got.
Rogue One was a good movie. Yeah.
You've got the main
You're
characters.
right.
The main characters in the hallway, or trying to get the Death Star plans. You've got the rebel troopers fighting the stormtroopers in the.
Did they ever just make it 3 levels because they could?
Call it, and then you've got the space battle going on.
Oh my goodness.
You could definitely.
Sam is
do
brilliant.
Brilliant.
What a great
that.
idea.
Brilliant,
That's not
and they
brilliant.
won't
That's
do
like
it,
a
but-
no-brainer.
But they won't do it.
No, they
Someone
probably
said, have you considered publishing these in a podcast form? We do. Go to dicetoweraudio.com, and you'll find them there. Usually not immediately, but they get up there eventually.
2 hours.
It's a great show. Tons of shots fired. Now, how big do you think the Toys R Us closing bankruptcies will affect the board game industry or games toys industry? This is a bigger thing.
Yeah, we've
as
talked
far
about
as we
this.
can tell right now, Toys R Us is out. They just closed 200 stores, and they're closing 200 more, and now scuttlebutt is Toys R Us is gone.
I didn't hear the full scuttlebutt. I know that they are they're in Chapter 11 bankruptcy, but that means that they're trying to reorganize on a smaller basis.
But from what I understand from other
might
websites,
have-
that it did not go through. That's just a couple days ago.
He might have more information than I do. It's again not truly impacting us as a hobby game industry. It affects the broad market very much. In
Toy
fact, I don't
industry.
know. We talked about this on the podcast that Hasbro. I can
Another
say
one.
That.
That's 2.
We should have like a little
It's
ding
too
on the
close.
bottom on
Yeah,
every
exactly.
self-promotional ding.
I'm on the Dice Tower Network, so I'm helping you too when I talk about Board Games Insider with Stephen Buonocore and Ignacy Trzewiczek. BoardGamesInsider.com. Anyway, so when Hasbro actually pulled a lot of product off of Toys R Us because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get the money for it. So during the holiday season, they had to work a deal where they would send them the product. And you know, try to see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If Toys R Us has no product to sell, then they're in really big trouble. They owed Hasbro a lot of money, millions, tens of millions of dollars. That's becomes real money because they've already sold the product. Hasbro said, "You're getting nothing for the season unless you do something here, restructure something."
Wow.
And they did do that. So it's a big issue for the
The
mass
Toys
market.
R Us game selection is pretty bad. I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. Target has a great selection of games. So does Barnes and Nobles. Toys R Us,
It wasn't that bad.
it's that bad.
Nah, I've been there recently.
I was
Like
I
within the
was-
last couple of months, I was there. They had a decent collection. But, I mean, it wasn't as good as Target, I got you, but it wasn't that bad.
Which do you find more valuable, the exposure you get at Gen Con or Origins, or the chance for a better individual customer interaction at something like Dice Tower Con?
Well,
Why would we not say Dice Tower?
Well, because you're not being honest. No, I'm kidding. Dice Tower Con is, and I've said this, Dice Tower Con is one of the best conventions of the year for me.
Well,
without a doubt. That and BGG Con are my favorite conventions of the year. And I've said this.
Historical date, the last day Buonocore was on the Dice Tower.
Well, no, if we were kicking them off for bad statements, he'd been gone several years ago. But basically it comes down to what are you looking for? Do you want to spend a lot more time talking to Stephen Buonocore? Then Dice Tower Con is a better con. Do you want to talk to a lot of people across the industry? Then Origins and Gen Con, because more people go to that one. So it's kind of what are you looking for?
Yeah, and in general, you get much more personal interaction
smaller
with
the
these
con,
guys
the-
as well.
the more
Because you can
interaction.
find you guys there walking around and everything like that. So smaller con, the more
Sam is like
interaction.
5-minute thing now. You get talking and he'll be like, done. Click that.
No, it's not. My goodness.
I way prefer the smaller, but big enough cons, the ones that we actually have a presence and we're showing you the games. I prefer those tremendously. Dice Tower Con, BGG Con, two of my favorites.
Terraforming Mars Deluxe. Might that ever happen? Like a super cool version of it.
Yes.
With good artwork.
I'm gonna put a foot in someone's behind in about a minute.
Yes. All right. No, it's
Yes. The answer is yes. Telling you when. If I was doing it right now, I wouldn't because we
So
have not
at what
announced
point?
it.
At what point did you realize that Terraforming Mars was close to an evergreen? Like
certainly is.
You
It
have a
certainly
lot of
is.
you have a lot of games that do well, right?
Sure.
And then of course there's a drop off. It just happens
course.
with most games.
Yes.
And most games are out of your catalog within a year. That's just the way it goes. Or you're not pushing them anymore because
Yes.
we're on to the next. Terraforming Mars is still going as strong, if not stronger than it was before. When did you realize that? Like when was there a moment you were like, oh, I have a hit on my hands?
We took a fairly big gamble on the print run, even to start. When we first had it, because that game released in September of 2016, and we did a substantial, but not ridiculous, a substantial print run, knowing that the buzz was really good, and it was sold out completely. So at that point, when you sold through the very large print run, you're like, yeah, this is going to be big. This is going to be big, and it's going to get bigger. And Fricks Games, who the design and development house out in Sweden, had already in their heads 4 expansions for the game. So when you can have not only a great game and you have content that can continue bringing out over time, you know that this is going to be something good. And since we actually worked on development with them for a year, we delayed that game a full year almost. They were able to continue development on more stuff. So there's 6 in their heads at least. 4 of them already, 3 have been announced. The 4th one is basically announced for Essen. And there's 2 more that most likely will see the light of day during 19 and or 20.
Well, folks, that's our current live stream. Like I said, we got to shut down because we have other videos we're going to be recording here. Throughout the day, we have holes. Throughout tomorrow and Wednesday, maybe at night, whatever. We're going to do some more little bits of streaming and things, so keep an eye out that. I can't tell you when they're going to happen. Watch our Twitter feed. We'll tweet them out when it happens. Thanks for watching this quick back and forth with Stephen Buonocore. You'll never see him again on our show. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Stephen Buonocore.
Sam Healey.
See you on the flip side. Wait.
Ooh, I got him to say it.
Dude, I didn't even mean to say that.
Yeah.
Flip side? Are we still
I
streaming?
can't believe I did that.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.